The desolate planet of Arcadia stretched out before Michael, an uncharted wasteland dotted with jagged rocks and eerie silence. His boots crunched against the arid soil as he surveyed the landscape, the oppressive stillness broken only by the occasional howl of the wind. As an experienced explorer for the Interstellar Alliance, Michael was accustomed to desolation, but today, something felt different, almost alive. He adjusted his visor, its HUD flickering with data scans, and continued his trek toward an anomalous energy reading. Just as he rounded a colossal boulder, his heart skipped a beat. There, lying amidst the rubble, was a small figure, half buried under the debris. He rushed forward, his pulse quickening. The figure was a young girl, her skin a striking shade of blue that shimmered under the pale sunlight. Her eyes, closed tightly, were framed by luminescent lashes. Michael gently cleared the debris, his fingers brushing against her skin, which was surprisingly warm. "Hang on," he whispered, his voice cracking through the silence. "I've got you." Michael activated his comm link. "Eagle to base, I've found someone. Request immediate medical evac. Coordinates, 34.5 north, 118.9 west. Static crackled before a response came through. "Copy that, Eagle. Med team en route. ETA 10 minutes. As he waited, Michael examined the girl more closely. She was dressed in tattered garments, alien yet familiar. An intricate pendant around her neck caught his eye, a symbol he didn't recognize, but it hinted at a story he was eager to uncover. Minutes later, the medical team arrived, swiftly stabilizing the girl and transporting her to the ship. Michael watched as they worked, his mind racing with questions. Who was she? How did she end up here? Back on the ship, in the sterile light of the med bay, the girl stirred. Her eyes fluttered open, revealing orbs of deep sapphire. She looked at Michael, fear and confusion etched across her face. Where am I?" she whispered, her voice fragile. "You're safe," Michael reassured her. "I'm Michael. We found you on Arcadia. Do you remember anything?" She shook her head, tears welling up. "I don't know. I can't remember." Michael's heart ached for her. "It's okay. You're safe now. We'll figure this out together." Over the following days, Michael spent every spare moment with the girl, who he named Zara. Despite her amnesia, Zara quickly adapted to life on the ship. She was curious, intelligent, and undeniably special. Her blue skin and luminescent eyes fascinated the crew, but it was her gentle demeanor that endeared her to them all. As Zara settled in, Michael began to notice subtle signs of her extraordinary abilities. Electronics would hum to life in her presence, and she seemed to understand complex systems intuitively. Michael kept these observations to himself, aware that revealing them too soon could put Zara in danger. One evening, as the ship cruised through the starlit void, Zara approached Michael on the observation deck. "Michael, what if I never remember who I am?" He placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "It doesn't matter where you came from, Zara. What matters is who you are now and who you choose to become. You're part of this crew, part of my family." Zara smiled, a glimmer of hope in her eyes. "Thank you, Michael." In that moment, Michael knew that their journey was just beginning. The mysteries of Zara's past would unfold in time, but for now, they had each other. And as they sailed through the galaxy, Michael couldn't shake the feeling that Zara was destined for something far greater than either of them could imagine. With each passing day, the bond between Michael and Zara grew stronger, setting the stage for an adventure that would challenge their understanding of identity, family, and destiny. The echoes of Arcadia faded behind them, but the journey ahead promised to be anything but ordinary. The classroom buzzed with excitement as the annual science fair began. Students proudly displayed their projects, ranging from rudimentary volcanoes to complex robotics. In one corner, Zara stood nervously beside her exhibit, a device she had built using spare parts from the ship's lab. Her heart raced as she saw the crowd approaching. "Ladies and gentlemen," the teacher announced. "Next, we have Zara with her energy converter." Zara took a deep breath and activated the device. The machine hummed to life, lights flickering as it transformed kinetic energy into electricity. The audience watched in awe, and a collective gasp echoed through the room when the lights dimmed, leaving only Zara's exhibit glowing brightly. "That's incredible," a student whispered. "How did she do that?" Before Zara could explain, two figures in pristine suits approached. Their demeanor was different, too poised, too curious. They examined her project with keen interest, their eyes occasionally darting to Zara. "Remarkable work," one of them said, his voice smooth. "You have quite the talent, Zara." She offered a polite smile, unease prickling her skin. "Thank you, sir." "What did you learn to do this?" the other man asked, his gaze intense. Zara hesitated. I just figured it out." The men exchanged a glance. "Fascinating," the first man said. "We would love to discuss your talents further. Perhaps we could arrange a meeting?" Before Zara could respond, Michael appeared at her side, his expression protective. "I'm afraid she's quite busy with school and her duties at home." The men smiled thinly. "Of course. But please take our card. We believe Zara has a bright future ahead." As they walked away, Michael's grip on Zara's shoulder tightened. "Who were they?" she asked, confusion mingling with fear. "Not friends," Michael replied tersely. "We need to talk when we get home." That evening, the atmosphere in their living room was tense. Michael paced back and forth, his mind racing. Zara sat on the couch, her hands clasped tightly. "Zara, there's something you need to know," Michael began, his voice heavy with concern. "Those men today, they're not just curious about your project. They know something about you, something I've been trying to figure out myself." Zara's eyes widened. "What do you mean?" Michael took a deep breath. "You're special, Zara. More than you realize. Your abilities, your intelligence, they're not just natural talent. They're part of who you are, and I think those men know more than they're letting on." Zara's mind raced, memories of her past blending with the present. "But I don't remember anything before you found me." "I know," Michael said gently. "But it's time we start looking for answers. Together." The following days were a blur of research and late-night conversations. Michael and Zara scoured archives, looking for any clue about her origins. Then, one evening, a breakthrough came in the form of an old Valorian symbol, the same one on Zara's pendant. "This is it," Michael said, his voice tinged with excitement. "This symbol belongs to the royal family of Valoria. Zara, you're not just anyone. You're part of something much bigger." Zara stared at the screen, her heart pounding. "But why would they send people to find me now?" Michael's eyes darkened. "Because they need you. And we need to be ready." As they prepared for the unknown, Zara's resolve hardened. She wasn't just a girl with mysterious powers, she was the last hope of a forgotten world. And with Michael by her side, she was ready to face whatever came next. The tension in the room was palpable as they packed their bags, each item a reminder of the journey ahead. Zara looked at Michael, her eyes filled with determination. "Let's do this," she said, her voice steady. Michael nodded, pride swelling in his chest. Together. With that, they stepped into the unknown, ready to uncover the truth and embrace the destiny that awaited them. The sleek spaceship shuddered as it pierced through Valoria's atmosphere, the turbulence shaking Zara and Michael in their seats. The desolate beauty of the planet stretched out below, a stark contrast to the vibrant life they had left behind on Earth. Zara's heart raced as she gripped the armrests, her eyes fixed on the rapidly approaching surface. "Are you sure about this?" she asked, her voice barely audible over the roar of the engines. Michael glanced at her, his expression resolute. "We've come this far, Zara. We need answers, and this is where we'll find them." The ship landed with a jolt, kicking up clouds of dust. As the ramp lowered, a group of figures emerged from the shadows, their faces obscured by hooded cloaks. Zara and Michael exchanged wary glances before stepping out, the dry, alien air filling their lungs. "Welcome, Princess Zara," a voice called out, sending a chill down her spine. The speaker stepped forward, revealing a middle-aged man with piercing green eyes. "I am Thaler, leader of the Valorian resistance. We've been waiting for you." Zara's breath caught in her throat. Princess? I'm not. Thaler raised a hand, silencing her. You are the last surviving member of the royal family. We need your help to reclaim Valoria from the tyrant who has oppressed us for too long. The weight of his words hung heavily in the air. Zara felt a surge of conflicting emotions, fear, disbelief, and an unexpected sense of duty. She looked to Michael, who nodded encouragingly. Tell us what we need to do, she said, her voice steadier than she felt. Thaler led them to a hidden encampment deep within a rocky canyon, where the rebels had established a base. As they walked, he explained the dire situation. The usurper, Kaldor, rules with an iron fist. Our people live in fear, and our resources are nearly depleted. We believe you are the key to rallying the people and restoring hope. Inside the camp, Zara was introduced to key members of the resistance, scientists, strategists, and warriors. Each greeted her with a mixture of reverence and expectation. It was overwhelming, but Zara knew she couldn't back down. That night, Zara and Michael sat around a campfire with Thaler and his advisors, discussing their plans. The flickering flames cast long shadows, creating an atmosphere of urgency and determination. We've located Kaldor's main fortress, Thaler said, spreading a map on the ground. But it's heavily fortified. We need a way to breach his defenses and incite a rebellion within the city. Zara studied the map, her mind racing. Her eyes lit up as an idea formed. What if we use the city's energy grid? If we can disrupt the power, it will create chaos and give us the advantage. The advisors exchanged surprised glances. That could work, one of them said slowly. But it would require someone with intimate knowledge of our technology. Zara smiled, a hint of her old confidence returning. I think I can handle that. Over the next few days, Zara and the resistance meticulously planned their attack. Zara's knowledge of Valorian technology, combined with the skills she had honed on Earth, proved invaluable. She worked tirelessly, driven by a newfound sense of purpose. As the day of the assault approached, the tension in the camp was palpable. Zara stood before the gathered rebels, her heart pounding. We fight not just for our freedom, but for the future of Valoria, she declared. Together, we will reclaim what is ours. The rebels cheered, their spirits lifted by her words. Michael stepped forward, placing a hand on Zara's shoulder. You're ready, he said softly. We're all behind you. With renewed determination, Zara and the rebels set out under the cover of darkness, ready to confront Kaldor and reclaim their home. The final confrontation loomed ahead, promising to test their courage and resolve like never before. The night sky over Valoria was ablaze with the glow of distant fires as the resistance advanced towards Kaldor's fortress. Zara led the charge, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and determination. The initial breach had gone as planned, the power grid disruption throwing the fortress into chaos. Stay focused. Michael's voice crackled through her earpiece. We're almost there. Zara glanced back at her father, his face set with resolve. The path ahead was littered with debris and the sounds of distant fighting echoed through the canyon. Each step brought them closer to the heart of the fortress, and to Kaldor. Suddenly, an explosion rocked the ground, throwing Zara and Michael to the side. Dust and smoke filled the air as rubble rained down around them. Coughing, Zara pushed herself up, eyes scanning for her father. Michael! She shouted, her voice hoarse. I'm here, he replied, emerging from the dust, a grim smile on his face. We need to keep moving. They pressed on, weaving through the chaotic battlefield. The closer they got to the fortress, the more intense the resistance became. Zara's heart raced as they finally reached the inner sanctum, where Kaldor awaited. The grand hall was dimly lit, shadows dancing along the walls. Kaldor stood at the far end, flanked by heavily armed guards. His eyes gleamed with malevolent amusement as Zara and Michael approached. Welcome, Princess Zara, he sneered. I've been expecting you. Zara's grip tightened on her weapon. Your reign of terror ends now, Kaldor. He laughed, a cold, hollow sound. You think you can defeat me? You're nothing but a lost girl clinging to a forgotten past. Zara's eyes blazed with defiance. I'm more than that. I'm the future of Valoria. With a roar, Caldor's guards charged. The hall erupted into chaos as Zara and Michael fought with every ounce of strength they had. The clash of weapons and shouts of combatants filled the air. Zara's training and innate abilities gave her an edge, but Caldor's forces were relentless. Amidst the fray, Zara spotted Thaler and his rebels joining the battle, their arrival tipping the scales in their favor. With renewed vigor, she pressed forward, her eyes locked on Caldor. Zara, now! Michael shouted, blocking an attack aimed at her. Seizing the moment, Zara lunged at Caldor. Their weapons clashed, sparks flying. The force of their duels sent shockwaves through the hall. Caldor was strong, but Zara fought with a ferocity born of desperation and hope. You cannot win! Caldor hissed, his face twisted in rage. Zara's eyes narrowed. Watch me! With a final, powerful strike, Zara disarmed Caldor, sending his weapon clattering to the floor. She stood over him, her breath ragged. It's over, she said, her voice steady. Caldor's eyes filled with a mix of fear and hatred. You'll never hold this planet. You're too weak. Zara stepped back, allowing Thaler to step forward and take Caldor into custody. We'll see about that. The aftermath of the battle was a whirlwind of activity. The rebels secured the fortress, and Caldor's loyalists either surrendered or fled. Zara stood on a balcony overlooking the city, the first light of dawn breaking over the horizon. The air was thick with the scent of smoke and the promise of a new beginning. Michael joined her, placing a hand on her shoulder. You did it, Zara. You've given Valoria a chance. Zara nodded, her heart swelling with a mix of relief and pride. We did it together. The city below began to stir, its people emerging from their hiding places. For the first time in years, hope shone in their eyes. As the sun rose, casting its golden light over Valoria, Zara knew that their journey was far from over. Rebuilding would take time, and challenges lay ahead. But with Michael by her side and the strength of the Valorian people behind her, she was ready to face whatever the future held. Together, they would restore Valoria to its former glory and build a legacy of peace and prosperity. The stars above seemed to shine brighter, a testament to their triumph and the endless possibilities that awaited.